Hello and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh, and in today's video we will be discussing about the topic of Muslim women's right to divorce. So the right to divorce with regard to the Muslim woman always remains in news, and earlier there was a issue of the aspect of 3 times saying talaq, and now as of now the issue which is in news is of Khula, Khula. So what is it and why is it in news? That is what we'll be looking today. First of all, about the timeline, first we'll be looking at the news, then what are the other forms of divorce within Muslims, then what are Shariat Act and what does it say about the divorce, what is 1939 Act, its background, and in the end prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 2, that is polity, constitutional aspect. From exam perspective, you should be able to know the background, because in background we will be talking about the cases, and then what are the other forms of divorce and what does the Shariat Act and the 1939 Act say. So the news says, before Supreme Court, question of law in Muslim women's right to divorce. So Muslim women's right to divorce. So the main topic on which we will be setting the today's episode is the right to divorce. So let's see that what is happening is that as of now the Supreme Court will examine a 2021 ruling of the Kerala High Court. So there is a ruling which Kerala High Court has given with regard to the Muslim women's right to divorce, and then it gave its verdict on the status of their right to divorce. So what did it say was, affirming a Muslim woman's right to pronounce extrajudicial divorce by way of khula. So the Kerala High Court in its 2021 ruling said that Muslim women, they have the right to pronounce extrajudicial divorce by way of khula. So they can do an extrajudicial divorce, and the medium through which they will be doing is khula. Now what is extrajudicial divorce? So extrajudicial divorce is something in which the court does not intervene. So extrajudicial divorces are those that take place without the court's intervention. A type of divorce in which the court will not intervene in between, and it will happen between two parties or by the female. So this is what the extrajudicial divorce is about, and the Kerala High Court said that the Muslim women can do extrajudicial divorce through khula. Now what is khula? This is what we will be looking into, and then it gave the judgment. So the Kerala High Court gave the judgment that Muslim women's right to khula, it means right to divorce, is absolute and does not depend upon the consent or assent of the husband. So this is what the Kerala High Court in its 2021 ruling said, that the right to khula, it means the right to extrajudicial divorce for the Muslim woman is absolute. It means it is absolute, it cannot be questioned. They have this right, and it does not even depend upon the husband. The females, the Muslim women have this right. Then now the Supreme Court will consider whether Muslim women lost their right to extrajudicial divorce after the passage of the Dissolution of the Muslim Marriages Act 1939. So now see, there are three entities. First is the Kerala High Court. Then what the Kerala High Court have said, the Supreme Court will look into this and will reconsider this. And the third entity here is the Muslim Marriages Act and the Dissolution of the Muslim Marriages Act. So the Supreme Court will consider that whether the Muslim woman who had the right to extrajudicial divorce, that they lost their right to extrajudicial divorce after the passage of the Dissolution of the Muslim Marriages Act. Whether Muslim Marriages Act will pass or not, after it got dissoluted, they lost their rights. So this is what the Supreme Court will look into. Now what is khula, through which the Muslim women have the right to divorce? So what is khula? Khula is a right of a Muslim woman to unilaterally divorce her husband. Unilaterally. Unilaterally means that only the woman will have the right to divorce. It means the woman will be responsible for giving the divorce to the husband. And it is similar to the right of talaq conferred upon Muslim men under Sharia law. So see, whenever we hear this term of talaq, 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 then this is what Muslim men can do, and in this female does not play a part. So the same way under khula, it is unilateral. It means the female can do it, the Muslim woman can do it, and the husband does not play any part under it. And the recognition of khula is from the Holy Quran. So it is not that the word khula or the khula way of divorce is not written anywhere. It is given in the Holy Quran. So this is what khula is. Then apart from khula, what are other forms of extrajudicial divorce? Then khula we have discussed. Then second is talaq-e-tafweej. This is the second one, which is talaq-e-tafweej. So it is a contract based divorce. Like khula was unilateral, while talaq-e-tafweej is contract based. So what happens under it is that if a husband violates any condition, see what happens is that when a husband and a wife, they both are married to each other, so there is a contract which happens. So under that contract there are certain terms and conditions given. So if any husband or wife does not perform according to the terms and conditions and goes beyond it and does something extreme, something irrelevant, something which is not acceptable to the other party, then in that condition talaq-e-tafweej can happen. Like for example, if a husband violates any condition agreed upon at the time of marriage, it means that the conditions are between the husband and the wife are discussed at the time of marriage. The wife will be entitled to divorce without the court's intervention. So if anyone between the husband and the wife does not obey with the terms and the condition, then the other person can go for the divorce. Then the third form of divorce is mubarat. It is mubarat. So it is a form of separation by mutual consent. Like in talaq, 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 male does it, khula, female does it. In mubarat, mutual consent. Mutual consent means by the consent of both husband and the wife. It means both wants to get divorced mutually. So they offer to dissolve the marriage may come from either side, not necessarily male or female. Anyone can do it. And both Shia and Sunni sects deem this form of divorce to be irrevocable. It means both accept this form of divorce. Then fourth is fashk, F-A-S-K-H. So fashk is through intervention of the court or an authority like a qazi. See, in talaq, talaq, talaq there was only male. In khula there was only female. In mubarat it was by mutual consent, while in fashk it does not happen by mutual consent or it does not happen through a male or a female. There needs to be a mediator, then there needs to be an intervention by a third party, and then that third party can be a qazi. And fashk is a form of divorce which is usually not acceptable. Now let's talk about the Shariat Act. So what is given in the Shariat Act with regard to the divorce? So when we talk about the Shariat Act, in the Muslim Personal Law Application Act of 1937, it recognizes both judicial and extrajudicial divorce. It means the Shariat Act or the Sharia Act talks about both judicial and extrajudicial divorce. It means that both with regard to the court intervention and without court intervention, both kind of divorce or both type of divorce can happen. Then Section 2 of the Act recognizes all forms of extrajudicial divorce except fashk. All types of extrajudicial divorce are allowed except one, and that is fashk. And fashk was what type of divorce? It was through the intervention of a third party. Then Section 5 of the Act, which allows the dissolution of marriage by court in certain circumstances. So, Section 2 says that all types of extrajudicial divorce are acceptable, while Section 5 of the Act says that dissolution of marriage by court in certain circumstances is allowed. So, there are two different sections. Section 2, it allows this extrajudicial divorce, and Section 5 is saying that there are certain circumstances under which divorce can be taken. Then 2 years after the passage of the 1937 Act, that is the Shariat Act, after the Shariat Act, 2 years after the Shariat Act, there was another act which happened, and that was Dissolution of the Muslim Marriages Act 1939 was enacted. So, Shariat Act was 1937, then Muslim Marriages Act was 1939. So, what the Dissolution of Muslim Marriages Act 1939 talks about, it says that the act extended the right to extrajudicial divorce to all Muslim women regardless of the school. So, in 1937 Shariat Act, judicial extrajudicial divorce was recognized. Divorce can be given under few circumstances and it is recognized. Then comes another act 2 years after, and the act which comes 2 years after also talks about the extrajudicial divorce to all Muslim women. Extrajudicial divorce to all Muslim women. Then Section 5 of the Shariat Act was repealed and replaced with Section 2 of the 1939 Act. So, in the 1937 Act, that is the Shariat Act, there was one Section 5 under it which was repealed, and instead of the Section 5, Section 2 was inserted into it. And what was Section 5 which was repealed? The Section 5 talks about that allows the dissolution of marriage in certain circumstances. So, it was repealed and Section 2 was inserted, and it talked about the certain circumstances and it gave 9 grounds. So, 9 grounds were given for the Muslim woman to obtain a decree for dissolution of marriage. So, 9 grounds were specifically inserted that on these 9 grounds, divorce can take place. And like for example, cruelty was one of them, desertion, husband's imprisonment for 7 years or more. So, there was like cruelty, bad behavior, these were few of the type of the grounds on and through which dissolution of marriage can take place. Then in the 1939 Act, this is not the Shariat Act, the act which came 2 years after the Shariat Act, that is the 1939 Act, it recognized the FUSQ route of extrajudicial divorce. So, before this, the FUSQ route of extrajudicial divorce was not recognized, but in the Act of 1939, the FUSQ route of extrajudicial divorce was recognized. Until now, it was not recognized, but now it was recognized. Then came few of the cases before it. So, let's first see about the KC Mohin versus Nafisa and others, 1972. This case talked about and negated Muslim women's right to invoke extrajudicial divorce under the 1939 Act. So, this act, because of this act, it said that it did not give Muslim women's right to invoke extrajudicial divorce. So, this act negated women's right to extrajudicial divorce, and the High Court rejected this verdict as bad law. So, this verdict was not kept for a long period of time, and High Court said that this verdict is a bad law because it did not give any right to the Muslim woman. Then came the Sophia Begum versus Syed Zahir Hassan Rizvi. So, this is the second case, and in the 1939 Act, objective was to enlarge the rights of Muslim women, and the courts must give effect to that. So, it said that the 1939 Act which was formed, the objective of that act was to enlarge the Muslim women's right of spheres, to enlarge the rights of Muslim women. This is what was the objective of the 1939 Act, the act which was passed 2 years after the Shariat Act. And the court must give effect to this act and its enlargement of the rights of the Muslim women. Then came the Jamila Khatun versus Qasim Ali 1951. It talked about that the 1939 Act crystallizes only a portion of the Muslim law. It does not talk about the complete law. It only talks about a portion of the law. So these were few of the judgments which talked about the Shariat law, the 1939 law, and also talked about the extrajudicial divorce for the women. And now that the 2021 Kerala High Court judgment has said that the extrajudicial divorce for women needs to be there, and this now the Supreme Court will look into this matter. So that's all for today, and thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading and keep writing.